rebuild or the favorites. We here for the latest. South side or the north side. Not tuned to the greatest. Home team for the home teams. Both sides got our own rings. On the mound or the long ball. But we don't put the wrong strings. Yeah. It's that time of the year now. Wrigley or Gantes or the whole league that we hear now. New show with a new mood. Discussions and interviews. Trade rumors that might be. This is Pinwheels and...
Welcome back to the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. My name is Aldo Soto. Alongside me tonight is Kevin Fiddler. You can follow Kevin on Twitter at KFids, myself at Aldo Soto 21. Make sure to follow the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast on all your social media platforms at Pinwheels and Ivy Pod. As always, we're brought to you by Sports Mockery. Download the Sports Mockery app. Turn on those notifications. Hopefully, we'll be seeing a lot more crazy Cubs wins this year. We got the Bears maybe trading up, trading down. Who knows? We got draft rumors coming up this week. Who knows what the Bulls are going to do? Blackhawks draft coming up for them too in like a month or so. Lots of stuff on Sports Mockery. Check it out. Visit sportsmockery.com as well for all the latest news and rumors for all your Chicago sports teams. Again, that is sportsmockery.com. And shout out to Mitch and the Pinwheels pregame show. Get your Sox talk there. Sox hanging in there against their hated AL Central rivals, the Twins, on Wednesday night. But Kevin, we have the Cubs who just swept the Dodgers at Wrigley Field, 2-game set. Obviously, the Cubs started the season playing 2 games in Japan against the Dodgers, and those counted as home games. Lost those 2. Lost the first game in Los Angeles earlier in April. But since then, the Cubs have beaten the Dodgers 4 games in a row. They have secured the season series, just as they did against the Arizona Diamondbacks this past weekend. They've already played 6 games against the Padres. They tied that season series at 3 apiece. It seems like they played all these games against against West teams. They had that 3-game series in Sacramento against the Athletics right after that series in Arizona to start the year. And really, that A series has been the only team that the Cubs have played who's under 500. The Cubs have played the toughest schedule in baseball. And that being said, through a sixth of the year here, they're 16-10 in first place. We've been talking about, everyone's been talking about the bullpen being up and down and just, blowing leads left and right. Matt Shaw, we'll get to Matt Shaw and him getting optioned to AAA after a first rough 3 weeks there. Third base has been a joke since he's been demoted. But with all that being said, this team looks amazing. The offense is what's carrying this team right now. 7 more runs on Wednesday. They come back after Matthew Boyd gets lit up in the 5th inning. Cubs are down 5-3. Offense comes right back, takes a 7-5 lead. They hang on 7-6. It's tough to say just because of how much we've seen the bullpen struggle. And maybe you can pinpoint it's only been a couple guys, but still there's been too many implosions already. I think they have 6 blown saves. Again, leading Major League Baseball early on in April, but this team does look special. And it's, there's a couple guys that is not only carrying the offense, but it's different from last year and it's different from 2023 because I've seen the comparisons, right? It's like, oh, the Cubs have done this the past couple of years. They're just going to melt down again in May and in June, and they're going to fall way behind. Well, they have Kyle Tucker now. They have a superstar right fielder who's, in the middle of that lineup who can drag them from whatever slump they're in. And it's not like they've been slumping a lot, but he gets them back in games. And then you have Pete Crow-Armstrong, who currently is the 2nd most valuable player in the National League, along with Fernando Tatis Jr. 2 huge developments. The PCA, when we knew that Kyle Tucker was a stud ever since the Cubs traded for him. But we were waiting. This is all that hype that we were waiting on for PCA. This is the hope that a lot of Cubs fans had. It's like, hey, we know he's going to be a Gold Glove center fielder. We know he's a freak on the base paths. Can he hit? And not only is he hitting, he's on fire. He's like the second best hitter on the team right now. Ever since those extension talks came out that he turned down like a $75 million extension from the Cubs, and Dan Clark tweeted out that
Dan.
PCA most overrated player. He's been the best hitter in baseball. Kevin, what's impressed you the most? We got a lot of things. We got Tucker, we got PCA, Porter Hodge. We can talk about him. He came into close Wednesday night. What do you make of that? What do you got, Kevin?
I think, first off, the most amazing thing is that Dan Clark Sports still has a Twitter, even though he was supposed to have deleted his Twitter for some other bad take, like during the Machado.
He said, I remember number one, that was it. He said all season or all that offseason that if Manny Machado didn't re-sign with the Orioles, he had so much integrity, he believed so much in his sources that he would delete his account. He has not. To the detriment of baseball of Twitter.
And it's this. He made an action figure. Beat Crow-Armstrong. Most overrated player in Major League Baseball. So I think what's the biggest surprise? I don't think the Tucker thing is much as a surprise, but God, because PCA is going to have these moments. He's going to rip off these heaters. And guys, you have to understand that he's going to 2 steps forward, 1 step back. This is a huge leap forward for him. And the league will adapt and adjust, and they'll close some gates, and then he'll have to readjust, and he'll have a step back or two. It's going to happen. It's fine. But, we can get to that part. That's been a super, last 10 games or 10 days or whatever, ever since all that stuff happened, he's been on a tear. And, all of it's been against the Dodgers too, which is really helps. It's his hometown team. Maybe he's getting up a little bit more for the team that, that's from where he's from, Hollywood boy. And, but you've got, with Tucker, it is so strange. I forgot what it feels like to have a dude in your lineup every day that does the things that Kyle Tucker does, if that makes sense. To have a true superstar. It has been a bit since there was a guy where you're like, oh my God, please just just move the line so Tucker.
Chris Bryant. It was Chris Bryant. I remember noting it ever since the trade went down. It's like the Cubs haven't had this caliber of hitter since Chris Bryant was in his prime with the Cubs.
Haven't had a fucking third baseman either. We'll get to that later, though. It's been a fucking revolving door over there, too. It's the third base position for Chicago Cubs historically is like the quarterback position for the Chicago Bears. And the second most popular job in Chicago is backup third baseman that hits well in spring training. So the most popular, of course, is the backup quarterback in Chicago. But Tucker is just insane. Like, I mean, the other night, the home run, the Diamondbacks thing, it's just, he does it. Guys like that find ways to win every night, and they find ways to impress you every night. And look, I haven't gotten a chance, he was an Astro. I didn't watch him all the time. I haven't gotten, we're just getting this chance to see this dude work. And so far, like, does this guy have like a bad stretch in him? That's the question that you always got to ask. Like, most guys are like, some guys are heaters, and then but this is a whole month.
There was like a 5-game stretch a couple weeks back, like the Texas series. He was quiet, and then I don't think he did much in LA against the or against, I think it was against the Padres. And it was like, oh man, okay, here's his first slump, and then bam, immediately snaps out of it. It's like, all right, he's back. Just like, goes 10 for 15 or whatever, and then just goes crazy. It's like, all right, there was that slump.
That's what makes it so fun. That's nice. And we're going to just, let's go ahead and beat the dead horse. Dude needs to get extended. At this point, Jed Hoyer's got to offer him 5% over what his ask is and just call it a day. What do you want? Okay, cool. We're going to add 5% to that as a convenience fee, and let's get this thing locked up. Because now at this point, the way that Tucker's played already, if he doesn't extend Kyle Tucker, I'm not entirely sure that fans aren't going to literally show up to Wrigley Field with pitchforks and torches. But for now,
you mentioned Jed Hoyer, but I still believe, and I think
Ricketts.
we saw it from the offseason comments, it's all on ownership.
It's all
like Jed Hoyer brought him here. He brought him here for the intent of like, we have a star, we need to keep him. Like, he's not stupid. Of course he wants to offer Kyle Tucker whatever it takes to keep him. It's up to ownership to actually pay up and be like, all right, here we go. Here's the money.
It just sucks, too.
He's been amazing. By the way, the PCA numbers updated. He has a 145 WRC+. That 1.7 F4 is tied with Tatis Jr. for second highest in the NL. He's slashing 294, 339, 549, 5 home runs, 21 runs scored, 17 runs driven in. He has 10 stolen bases already in 26 games, so he's on pace for like 60. Just amazing stuff from Pete Crow-Armstrong. And again, a lot of that production has just been like over the last less than 2 weeks, or the last 10 games or so. That he's been on fire after a slow start for him. I do have an update here from the Cubs post-game show on why Ryan Presley did not pitch the 9th inning, Wednesday's 7-6 game. The Cubs had Porter Hodge in there. Patrick Mooney from The Athletic. Cubs closer Ryan Presley had his right knee drained last night, manager Craig Counsell said, which is why Porter Hodge saved tonight's 76 win over the Dodgers at Wrigley Field. Counsell hopes Presley will be available Friday for the start of the 3-game series versus the Phillies.
Okay, so they put him on the show tonight with the day off. Okay,
a little concerned.
It's a drain. It's a drain. That shit.
But he's an older dude. I think he's had knee issues in the past.
Yeah. It's all preemptive, man. They're taking care of him. This was a good one.
The good thing is that the Cubs have a guy.
Yeah.
The good thing is that the Cubs have a guy in Porter Hodge who can just step right in and look even better. No offense to Ryan Presley, but out of the two guys, you just look at their stuff, the way they've pitched so far this season, who's looked more impressive on the mound. It's been Porter Hodge, and he showed that again in the 9th inning, a 1-2-3 inning. He gets down number 9 batter, Austin Barnes, strikes out Shohei Ohtani on 3 nasty sliders, and then gets Mookie Betts to fly out to center to end that game. Good stuff there. The bullpen that, has been, again, just up and down for this opening month. 3 shutout innings Wednesday night. You got Daniel Palencia came into the 7th. Julian Merriweather, 1-2-3, 8th inning. And then you had Porter Hodge there. Matthew Boyd, this was his worst start. 6 earned runs in 6 innings. 3 of those were unearned because of his. I guess I get it, but I'll always because of his own error. I'll always say that I guess I get it, but at the same time, it's like the pitcher
it is an earned run. He earned it.
He earned it. Yeah, it was his mistake. So technically, Matthew Boyd with a quality start there, but it was the first time that you saw all the pitches weren't really there. He wasn't getting many swings and misses. The fastball, the velocity at least looked good. He was like throwing 96 deep into the game, but he wasn't really missing a lot of bats, a lot of hard contact. But he did just enough. Got squeezed a bit, but I mean the umpiring, man. I just feel like the umpiring at home plate, balls and strikes get worse and worse every year. But hey, that's just part of the game until the ABS system comes hopefully soon. Excuse me. But the Cubs win. They're 16-10. Again, toughest schedule in baseball, and it's not going to end. I thought it was like, okay, thank God we're about to get to the soft spot of schedule. No, the Phillies are coming into town. That's going to be a 3-game series.
Well, the Phillies did just get swept by the Mets, right?
They did get swept, so they're going to be pissed or something. I don't know. Yep. Kyle Schwarber is going to hit a couple home runs. You just know it.
What did they say? The Cubs, it's the toughest schedule in baseball, and then when the stretch ends, the rest of the season, they have the easiest schedule in baseball. So this is supposed to be the tread water part of the season, and the Cubs are 16-10. And the worst they can do in this quote-unquote treading water is finish 3 games over 500 when all we asked is that they were at least somewhere around 500 come end of this.
Remember we were talking about the week before opening day. We were on here. We were going through the schedule, and we're like, man, if they're just like 3-4 games under, we'll take it. Like, just don't get completely buried, but stay a couple games under 500. They have one of the best records in baseball. This is from Full Count Tommy. Tweeted this out before Wednesday night's game. The Cubs had the toughest strength of schedule of opponent winning percentage of .635. That was 91 points higher than the second hardest. Unbelievable there for the Cubs. I mean, we've had 2 instant classics in the span of 4 games. We had that Friday game with Arizona. We have the back and forth on Tuesday night at Wrigley. A guy who was featured on the blunder side of those things, beside the bullpen struggles, was Gage Workman, who he wasn't charged with the error on Friday, but he botched a ground ball with 2 outs that would have ended the inning. And the Cubs would have stayed in front on Friday, and that led to the whole. I think at the time the Cubs were still up 7-6, and then they went down 11-7 there before coming back. He made that mistake. He had that dropped pop up in San Diego before the Manny Machado home run. And then Tuesday night, he makes 2 errors that leads to 5 unearned runs. He gets DFA'd on Wednesday. 25-year-old guy. We talked about it all off season. We were on here. He was picked in the Rule 5 draft. The Cubs had to keep him on the active roster if they wanted to keep him. He played great. I mean, I'll say he earned a spot in spring training. The Cubs probably didn't think that he was going to be playing this much because they probably envisioned Matt Shaw, getting off to a fast start. Mm-hmm. And maybe you play Workman once a week. He gets in there, plays a couple innings on defense. Maybe he's a pinch runner. But even with that, he only had 14 at-bats. I think he only started 4 games. And in that limited time, he just looked like a guy who was completely blindsided by the brighter lights. It's sad to see. Seemed like a good dude. But man, he just did not look like a major leaguer.
He looked like a guy that has never had an at-bat past Double-A. Oh, wait, he is, because he was made a legend from spring training. He is the Patrick Wisdom of David Bode's. Unfortunately for him, it was for some reason, a guy that has actually less experience at a higher level than Matt Shaw was afforded all of this legend status because he hit well in spring training. And now here we are looking at a rotisserie at third base right now, basically. And Matt Shaw, is not with the big ball club. And I don't have a problem with him being sent down, by the way. We haven't talked since this, but Shaw going down, I'm thinking now, I mean, I've thought about this for about a week now, too. I mean, I hate seeing the kid go down. Don't get me wrong. I want the kid to get as many major league at-bats, but I also think that deep down in my head, the little optimist in me thinks that perhaps the Cubs saw this stretch as okay, whoa. Maybe he's a little overmatched. We're facing some of the best arms in baseball. It's okay. Let's send him down. He'll get some regular AAA at-bats, get loose, get himself in a nice rhythm. And then after we're done with this brutal stretch, we can bring him back up and he can play that softer part of the schedule and finally get right. But he also can kind of maybe be insulated by these other guys that are playing well around him. So I guess, I didn't hate it. And I think that right now you're seeing it's a circus over there right now. There is nobody.
It's as bad as it's been the past couple of years. And we've been saying the same thing for third base. Who the hell is going to play third base?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's again, I think that I would predict that after the Phillies series, maybe middle of next week, late next week, I think Shaw will probably be called back up unless Nicky Lopez says, F all you guys, and I'm going to just take the job, which, I mean, I have a better chance of probably getting, going on a date with Kate Beckinsale than he has lighting it up, but let's go for it. Stranger things have happened. So
let's take a quick peek here at the Cubs schedule. So they have the Phillies coming in Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Wrigley Field. After them, the Pirates, bad, but they still have a couple guys that they can. Maybe they miss Skeens. Maybe not. We'll see.
There's 4-game series. It's hard to miss Skeens. Oh, wait, that's later. I'm sorry. That's June. Wrong.
3 games. After that, you got the Brewers. The Brewers are still, a couple games under 500. They're still, annoyingly not bad. After them, you still got the San Francisco Giants. They've had a surprising start. They have one of the best records in baseball. After that, you go on the road to the Mets. And that's May 9th through 11th. So that's the last tough series.
Yeah, just look at that.
Still got that. I mean, that's still another. That's still what 3, 6. That's still another 12. That's 4 more tough series there.
And then it's Miami.
So I think mid-May.
White Sox.
Shaw comes back.
Yeah, White Sox, Miami, Cincinnati, Colorado, Cincinnati, Washington, and Detroit's not terrible, but.
Yeah, Detroit's been pretty good too. They just beat the Padres this week. I think they won that series in Detroit.
Nice stretch.
Matt Shaw. The main reason I wasn't worried about Matt Shaw this year, despite the struggle. I mean, he wasn't hitting the ball hard. I was encouraged. I think it was one of our guys, Greg Huss, on Twitter, who pointed out it just didn't seem that Matt Shaw ever got off like his A swing. Like he was just he was too patient. He was always 0-2. And he did had draw like 10 walks, which was good. He was producing something. He was getting on base, scoring some runs, but he just wasn't aggressive. And again, we're talking about a rookie here. We're talking about a guy who is facing an incredible stretch of tough pitching that the Cubs were facing there for a bit. So the second half of that, though, is that on defense, I think he had like maybe a couple errors, but it wasn't anything big. He looked solid there, so he wasn't taking his struggles on the plate to the field. So and Matt Shaw's just always been too good to be concerned, be like, oh, he's a bust. Like, no, it's whatever it was, 25 at bats,
and he was facing
30, whatever it was.
Who was he facing? What did he face? Yeah, like he's facing Glass now.
I mean, it was ridiculous. Remember, his first two games in Japan was against Yamamoto and Sasaki, guys who have probably like the two best splitters in the world.
And I think
so like
you actually pointed it out. He was getting an 0-2 counts a lot. Yeah, that's a young guy that knows what he's doing up there with an approach, and he's trying to figure out the major league strike zone. He's trying to see pitches, out of the hand and into the glove. Unfortunately, at the major league level, especially when you're trying to play against really good teams and you're playing in a team that has high expectations.
Like these guys know how to get you out.
Yeah, they're going to get you out, and they're not going to miss those spots. And so you're going to track, and you're going to see it. Great, but now you're 0-2, and now you're really screwed because you've dug yourself a hole. Unfortunately for him, he's got to see those pitches. That's just part of the process. So normally a rookie gets an opportunity to see that in less stressful situations sometimes, for the most part, or in pick and choose moments. But he was out there from the get-go, and the kid was just trying to look at pitches and try and see things. And it's Major League Baseball it's hard to hit. It's actually pretty difficult. No. And someone even as gifted as him needs to see it. And I think you'll see it again when he comes back up. I think that's where you'll see some of the growth part of it, because he's now working on what he struggled with. He got to see it. He got his cup of coffee. He got to see where he was beat. He got to see the speed of the game. He got to see how it looks out of the hand. He got to see that late movement, all that arm side run. And now he can go down and go, hey, let me prepare myself for the next round. And I'm going to go, I'm going to hit the cage. I'm going to get the training development. I'm going to, my approach, even at AAA in those games, it's less about winning in those games. And it's more about getting your work in so that he can grow and then take that progression forward.
And I think you've talked about this with, previous younger guys that have come up on both sides of town, Cubs and White Sox, around the league too, is that for a lot of these top prospect guys, Matt Shaw was the number one guy for the Cubs heading into the year. He's been at that status for like half a season now, after PCA fully established himself last year with the Cubs. But this was pretty much his first like real adversity that he's faced. Sure, maybe he's had like a slump here or there in the minor leagues, but this was really the first extended period of time where like he just was not hitting. So it's good to see. You always want to see guys, get punched in the face. How are they going to respond?
He was a professional. He never took his at-bats out with him, too, by the way. Little things to keep an eye on is that he never took those at-bats out with him. He went out there and he
looked solid at third base. Like he was making those plays that Gage Workman was missing. Those bouncers where he had to come in and backhand a ball and then throw. He was just completely whiffing those. Matt Shaw was making those plays. I do think it was a good thing, and obviously it helps trading for Kyle Tucker and having him. But like it's not like the Cubs were relying on Matt Shaw to be one of the top 3 hitters on the team this year. Like they just weren't. So like that's why I don't mind. I don't think it was a panic move. I don't think it was. I take it all. I don't see any negativity of it, and other than like it's a bummer. You wish that he would have gotten off to a better start.
Right, that's all. And
but other than that,
it could have been to protect him from himself and get him that extra work while he was while the Cubs were in this really brutal stretch. And unfortunately, Gage Workman kind of paid the penance for his sins in a weird way. But that's baseball, I guess. It's such
so for the meantime. For the meantime, I think we looked at the schedule here. Maybe a couple weeks, 2-3 more weeks. Once that schedule softens up for the Cubs, maybe Matt Shaw comes back up. But in the meantime, you got John Birdie. The Cubs re-signed Nicky Lopez. They got Ridal Brujan, which he had an error last week too in his start at third base. So just hanging on. Just need some. Just I've been writing about it even with Workman. Everybody, whoever is backing up until Matt Shaw returns, just make the routine plays, guys. I don't care if you hit; they're probably not going to hit a lot. Just make the routine plays because that's all. That's where the expectations are right now. The bar is so low for these guys. That's all they need to do moving forward. And until Matt Shaw returns, which hopefully is in a couple weeks here. Another we haven't been on since this happened either, but the Cubs are obviously without Justin Steele for the rest of the year. He underwent his elbow surgery last Friday. Not Tommy John, but still he's not going to come back this year. Tough news there. Something that once the news popped up that the Cubs were going to get a second opinion on him, you kind of had it in the back of your mind. That's not good. Why are they? If it was the same injury, why are they getting a second opinion? And then obviously a couple of days after that, we found out that he was going to be out for the rest of the year. He undergoes surgery. The Cubs have Colin Ray, one of the 2 free agent starting pitchers, swing type guys that they signed in the offseason. He's had 2 spot starts. He's looked good. Shorter starts. Went 3 2/3, I think, against the Dodgers. 4 2/3 against the Diamondbacks. Only gave up 1 run in each of those games. He'll start again against the Phillies this weekend. Javier Assad, who was supposed to come back sometime soon, he suffered a setback. He's back in Chicago getting tested after he was removed right before the 5th inning Tuesday night at AAA. That sucks. That's a bummer because that was a guy that you were counting on to come in and be another option in the rotation, be a long relief option in the bullpen maybe. And now that's not going to happen. That's off the table. I don't know how much longer Colin Ray is going to be throwing 96 miles per hour and like baffling hitters, but hopefully
Take it while it's going.
But hopefully that keeps up because the Cubs are going to need it because, we love to talk about the hypotheticals. I know it's a great topic on social media. Like, oh, Cubs should trade for Sandy Alcantara. That'd be great. Like, they need to look into this guy, that guy. A lot of those big trades just don't happen in April. They don't happen in May. They rarely happen in June. Unfortunately, some of those bigger moves are months away. The Cubs have to rely on the depth that they have in their system right now. Will it be enough? I don't know. I'll tell you what, though. I do wish Ben Brown looked a little better. He's been fine, but the command he can't be getting away with 4 walks every start. It does remind me of Justin Steele. A couple years ago when he was first trying to get into the rotation at the beginning of 2022, I think. And he would have these 3-4 inning starts where he would battle through, only give a couple runs, but the pitch count would get high because he'd be walking guys. He wouldn't be able to put him away. Ben Brown, 2-pitch pitcher, fastball, 96, 97, great curveball. But if he doesn't have command of the fastball, he's struggling, and we've seen that now in a couple starts. Again, he hasn't completely imploded. His last start, he still went 4 innings, didn't give up a run, I think, or only gave up 1 run or no runs. But again, only 4 innings. That's going to kill the bullpen. What are your thoughts on Ben Brown early on?
I think that he's doing what he does. I think he's got to eliminate the walks. I think that's probably the biggest thing for him. So it conserves his pitch count. You can't have a lot of free passes and full counts if you're also a strikeout pitcher. So that's something he's going to have to continue to lock in. But I do also think that he's had these really, really great. I mean, he's also carved the Dodgers. I mean, that lineup to shut that lineup.
Oh, he looked amazing.
Yeah. And
that
so
was the best he's looked, I think, since last May.
Mm-hmm. And so he's going to have those moments, but I'm not super concerned. Actually, I think as a 4 starter, he's going out there and doing the job. I wish he would conserve his pitch count. He's still working on getting that, that additional pitch beyond the 2-seamer, 4-seamer, and that knuckle curve or whatever, and getting that changeup going. But it's going to take time. Again, he's a number 4 or number 5. I mean, I guess he shifts up as a 5-4 because of the injury, but he's he's really a rookie 5, and he's going to have moments where he looks just, I mean, you're seeing what he can do when he's on. And now it's a matter of replicating that again, eliminating the free passes. That to me is the number one thing that if he can carve those out, you can give up a solo jack, man. You can give up two solo home runs in 6 innings. That's cool. That's the old Fergie Jenkins way, right? I mean, Fergie Jenkins led the Cubs organization in history for most home runs given up in a season, but they were all like solo jacks. So who cares? So the command part, we'll get there. I think health wise, he got to stretch out. He did throw 100 pitches. He went triple digits, I think, in his last start. So those are good signs that they're trusting him to go a little deper.
In 4 innings, though. That's what sucks.
Not great there. But again, what did he have? 6 Ks and like 5 walks. So that'll do it.
He had 6 strikeouts, 4 walks. I think the first batter of the game, I think it was Corbin Carroll, hit the home run. Yeah, only gave up. That's the thing. He does have nasty stuff where he only gave up 3 hits.
He's throwing 100 pitches in 4 innings.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's that same issue. It's like these guys look great, but like it's going to kill the bullpen. It's going to cost, that costs you like 2 extra arms there that you have to use just because the guy can't get into the 5th inning. But that start in Los Angeles was so encouraging that he had. That was like in the blowout. But at the time, the Cubs were only leading it was like a 1-run game, 2-run game before they exploded late in Los Angeles. He goes 6 innings, 5 strikeouts, no walks. And like that's where we see his ceiling is when he does command his fastball, when he throws it for strikes. He is going to carve up these hitters. It doesn't matter if it's the best lineup in the world or not. He has the stuff to go up against these guys. He only gave up 5 hits that game. I think they were all singles or maybe only 1 double, maybe 2 doubles maybe, but he didn't get into much trouble that night against the Dodgers. And then he did have another solid start against the Athletics in Sacramento, 5 innings, only walked 2, gave up 3 runs there. But yeah, 13 walks in 21 2/3 innings. Just, gotta lock in there with the command. The Cubs made a trade earlier this week for a guy that I wanted when he was coming back from his elbow surgery back in 2021. Drew Pomeranz is back.
Yeah, welcome back.
He has not pitched in the majors since 2021. I do remember he became a full-time reliever with the Brewers in 2019. That was when Craig Counsell was managing the Brewers. And in those like 3 years, I think he's also with the Padres, the Brewers, and I forget one other team. He was lights out as a reliever. But again, we're talking about 4 years ago. I have no idea what the scouting report that the Cubs got on him like this year, that he was at AAA with the Seattle Mariners. But it must have been good enough that they only traded cash for him. It's not like they traded away a prospect or anything, but is there anything in the tank? I guess we're going to see. Can the Cubs go 2 for 2 in April trades with the Mariners? Last year they traded for Tyson Miller, and he turned out to be one of their best relievers for most of the year. No idea what they're going to get in Drew Pomeranz. What do you got on that, Kevin?
I mean, you got to make a move. You got to do something, and you're killing time till Horton's ready. So you've got to, Horton might not be ready till like July. So you got to just piece it together. You got to slap some duct tape on this thing and figure out guys that can just burn the innings. Again, Jordan Wicks going down sucks a little bit, but Pomeranz, who knows? Maybe you'll capture some lightning in a bottle. Jed's done it before, but it's not a fix. It's not. It's a piece of gum over the hole in the dam kind of thing that it might hold for a bit. It's not a what is that? Slap tape or whatever that stuff is. Slap tape.
With the water, yeah. With the
it's not that. It's more like Scotch tape, but it can hold it for a second. Hurry up, Horton. But what? The guy. This is a moment for this guy to. I mean, the last time he pitched, when he was actually pitching was 2019, and he was good. So. Maybe
phenomenal, amazing reliever.
Show up, and I don't know. I mean, this could be a strike, or it could just be not a waste because you got to have an arm. So It didn't cost him anything much, right? So it's fine, but it's not the answer. With Steele going down, and Assad being hurt now down at AAA, getting punched again. All of a sudden, the reinforcements aren't there, and now the lack of depth in the organization that was built, maybe with a little bit of stringent purse strings, is now, we're seeing what happens. You never expect Justin Steele to go out in the first month of the season, but then again, that's just 2 years in a row now. So maybe you should.
He is the guy. Yeah, he is the guy who's had now, arm issues 3 straight years. So, so Pomeranz, he's added to the active roster. The Cubs. Speaking of Tyson Miller, who the Cubs traded for last year, he made his third rehab outing on Wednesday for the Iowa Cubs. Scoreless inning again. I think he might be up soon. Maybe he gets one more rehab appearance, but I think he's pitched 3 2/3 innings. I don't know if maybe they're waiting to pitch him back to back, see how he handles that before he gets called back up. But I think he'll be, as long as he doesn't suffer a setback from his injury, I think he'll be back in the bullpen within the next week or so. That'd be a good boost. It does offer a different look out of the bullpen, and a guy who was pretty good last year, and maybe he repeats a bit of that success. Fingers crossed on that one, though. You mentioned Cade Horton. He made his 4th start of the season at AAA on Wednesday, and it was his best start of the year. He goes 4 2/3 innings, 76 pitches, 5 strikeouts, only 1 walk this time, no earned runs, only allowed 2 hits. He's down to a 1.06 ERA in 17 innings. They're shorter outings here because the Cubs are they're slowly ramping him up after the shoulder injury from 2024. I was asked a question and I just had no idea how to answer it. I just have no clue how the Cubs are going to handle Cade Horton this year because of that shoulder injury. We're talking about a guy who didn't pitch a lot in college because I think he had Tommy John. He didn't pitch for them out of the draft. He didn't make his pro debut until 2023. Mm-hmm. Again, the Cubs are known in the minor leagues to only pitch their starting pitchers. They have a devoted, like a strict pitch count for guys. They'll go like 50 pitches, like their first couple starts. Then they'll go up to 60, then 70. They like cap him off. They're not letting him go. He gets the shoulder injury in 2024 in May. He misses most of the year. We're concerned, right? We're like, fuck, is this it? Like, for all that hype, like, is one shoulder, is another shoulder, or like, is this shoulder injury going to take him out?
Passed on my cam for this. Sorry.
But he's back to showing why he's one of the best pitching prospects in baseball. And now the question is, sooner or later, we're seeing with the Cubs pitching staff, like, they're going to need him eventually this year. 2 questions. When do the Cubs call him up? And 2, what role do you see him playing? I was asked, do you think they put him in the bullpen? My gut reaction was no, for a similar reason. It's like, how much can the arm take getting up, warming up a couple times a week? That stress, can he go 2 innings on Monday, another 2 innings on Friday? Like, is that healthy for him after not pitching a lot? Do they go with a 6-man rotation? If they have enough healthy arms, do they do that instead? What do you think? First question though, when do you think the Cubs do call up Cade Horton this year? Is it this year?
I target July. Okay. I think that you're seeing this pattern early on in the season, limiting his reps early on, giving him, wherever his pitch count seems to be hovering at. I'm sure we could probably pull up at his average pitch per start and get.
I think right now, the highest has been 76.
But like average wise, like what are they pulling him at? What has been the frequency? Like, are they usually pulling him somewhere in the 70s, the 60s, etc.? So you're seeing a general ramp up. I think you're going to want to see. They're going to want to see him do this for a couple months consecutively. I hope they don't get desperate. This great start helps. Even with Justin Steele going out, they've still won ball games. So They don't have to feel desperate enough to say, all right, oh God, no, bring him up, but he's not ready. And then bad things happen. So I think that's a positive right there. Assad maybe getting hurt sucks a little bit because that could have been a guy that kind of could have poked another finger in the hole of the dam and keep it a little bit plugged for a second. But I just think that you'll see him ramp up to 80, 85 pitches in, late May. I think he'll probably have a couple more starts where he keeps it in that like 65 to 75 range. Get him into the 80s, give him 3, 4 starts in that kind of pitch count. Maybe elevate him to 90, a start or two, see how he bounces back. Maybe stretch out his starts a little bit. So maybe he's going on a 6-day, maybe give him 7 days off, whatever. And then I think by the time you've gotten that general ramp up and he's okay to go and you feel confident enough, his body's responding well. You never know. He might be tender after certain types of starts. Maybe there's a pitch count limit or a workload that really he feels it the next few days. Then you start adjusting things, and you can kind of know what you're dealing with. And also, if it's not working out, that you can also then target on the trade market up near the trade deadline some sort of option that could at least cover for him, give him more time to develop. Because it's just by midseason, if the Cubs are in the hunt, you can't just pray that this kid's going to be ready. And you can't force a kid up. If it's not there, it's not there. Kick the can down the road. We'll see you next year. It's fine. Or maybe later in the season, but you don't need to rush it. If it's not there, plan without them, move on accordingly. Not move on, but move on with your season. Get what's best for the major league team. Let the kid continue to develop. But I think we'll see him in July. I think that's sometime in early July, maybe even late June. But somewhere around that 3-month mark, where he's been able to get some work in. They've been able to see him elevate, see how his body responds. And, that's a long time from now. So these great starts are awesome, but it doesn't help the Chicago Cubs. It doesn't.
So his first 4 starts here, his first one, 59 pitches.
Okay.
Second start, 68 pitches. Then back-to-back, 76 pitches.
What was it?
76? 76, yeah.
So that looks like his first 2 starts, he had somewhere between like a 50, like a 55 to 65 kind of thing, where you're not going to start a new at bat after a certain number. And then 76 looks like they upped it up by another 10. If you look at just like that basic, because you're inside of 6 with the first 2, you're right on the nose with the second 2. So those must have been some drop dead, like, hey, we're done. No matter what, he's over. It's up. Go grab it.
That was definitely the case on Wednesday because he looked great. I don't think the bases were empty. He was in the 5th inning. He went 4 2/3, and they took him out at 76 pitches. So yeah,
so 76
right at that 75 range.
Might have been a 70. No new batter after 70 kind of thing.
I think it was 75. I think it was 75 the number, and they're like, all right, he got 76 batters out.
What was his last at bat? Like, was his last at bat like a 2-pitch at bat? Was it? Because I'm thinking like a lot of times we'll say, hey, no new batter after 70 or no new batter after 80, and he had a 6-pitch at bat, and that was it. Like once he crossed that bridge. But
I mean, still encouraging signs though, especially after
absolutely.
it's just so unknown, man, with pitching injuries, because the guy can look so great and just anything can take him out, and they're just not the same again. Or it just takes longer for them to come back.
When did you say he pitched really well? What was his last start? Was when?
Today, Wednesday.
Oh, so he started today. Okay, so he 1-0, lost, right? Am I seeing that right?
Yeah, Cubs lost in extra innings in the 11th to the Louisville Bats, 1-0. They had their top pitching prospect pitching too, Chase Petty.
5th inning. Let's see here.
Fifth see.
Inning. It looks like Horton. Let's see this at bat. Yeah, it was a 6-pitch at bat.
There you go.
The last out was a 6-pitch at bat. So he started that at bat with 70, and no new batter after 70. It was 70, and he 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76. So
there you go.
Or no new batter after 75, and he hit that 70. So maybe they wanted him maybe 75, and he can get that last out. Maybe they let him go a little bit further, but that seems to play into there somewhere 70, 75. So they're that's good. And then the other previous start, what did that one look like? How long ago was that? Let's see. That's something to keep in mind.
That's the thing at Triple with like the way he's like only starting one time a week, it seems like.
Yeah, 23rd and then the 16th, 5 innings pitched. So he got through his 5 at 76. Let's see his last at bat. So that's through the 5th. His last at bat was a strikeout 5 pitches, so he started at 71. So maybe it was. It's probably 70, 75. Because if he pushed past 75 on both of his final at bats. That one got him to 76 on a 5-pitch at bat. The other one was a 6-pitch at bat that got him past 75.
So I think the next start's probably 80. A couple more of those, 2-3 of those, go up to 85, go up to 90.
I think what they're going to want to do is tighten up his starts though first. I think they might keep this pitch count limit and then start having him bounce back every 6th day maybe, or
one of the good things about that
with his rotational positioning. You know what I mean?
I think the best sign from his start on Wednesday is that he only had the 1 walk. His first couple of starts, he had like 3 walks, 4 walks, and that affected the pitch count too. He wasn't being efficient there. But yeah, no, obviously he's getting better as he pitches more, and that's what Craig Counsell was asked about him recently, and he just flat out said he just needs to pitch. Like he just has not pitched a lot because of the missed time with the injury. We don't know yet how that's going to look over the course of the next few months. And I think the Cubs have shown pretty good restraint in not calling up the guys too quick. Like I don't think they're in a rush to call up Cade Horton anytime soon, even with some of these pitching injuries and maybe some lack of depth here with a couple of the depth guys being down, like Assad, and a couple other relievers coming back from injury. At the NL Central right now, I mentioned the Brewers earlier, how they're still hanging around. I think they're 13-11. You mentioned that a team that you were keeping your eye on early on in the season were the St. Louis Cardinals. They've been brutal after their 4-0 start. Anything else not outside of the NL Central that surprised you so far this opening month of the season?
Outside of the NL Central?
Or inside. It could be inside the NL Central too.
Cardinals obviously inside was very strange. I think the Phillies sitting at 13-12 was a little bit weird to me. Atlanta 10-14. I guess that's a little bit of a shock for them being that. I mean, they're in last place behind Miami and the Nats. Like, wow, didn't expect that. I didn't expect
our guy Matt Mervis, Kevin. That's what surprised me the most.
Surprise! There you go. Guys getting a chance to actually play every day and not have to worry about looking over his shoulder a little bit. I think I didn't think the Padres were going to be as dominant out of the gate as they have been. That one shocked me a tad, and that one sucks because you know why? We needed them to come out shitty, so they start thinking about selling, and then the Dylan Cease trade now a Dylan Cease trade is gone. Forget about it.
I would
2021 Cubs.
I wouldn't completely close the door on that because that offense is not good. I don't know how long they're just going to have the same 4 relievers pitch every high leverage situation and how often that's going to hold up for them, either by durability, guys staying healthy, or regression. Because we saw those games between the Cubs and Padres. It just seemed like it was the same guys over and over again. Like, guys were on pace to make appear in every other game for them. Maybe it happens. Maybe they do have 4 or 5 relievers who just finished the year with 80 innings pitched and they're locked down the whole year. But I don't know about the Padres long term. Great for them though, because if they do keep this up, maybe they get Yu Darvish back. Let's see if he has something left in the tank for him. I mean, they do have great players in Fernando Tatis Jr., who's been amazing. Manny Machado's spectacular at third base. They do have Jackson Merrill, who was injured early on in center. He's great. But they have Jason Hayward starting for him. I don't know, their catching situation isn't too special, I don't think. Luis Ariz just got concussed. He had that nasty injury on Sunday Night Baseball against Houston. Great start for them. Obviously, their bullpen has been out of this world. I just don't know how sustainable that is for the rest of the year for them. So I wouldn't completely close the door on. It's July. they're kind of hovering. And it's like, time to sell because they know that CeCe isn't going to come back.
Need one of those 2021 Cup stretches.
Yeah. How about our World Series pick, Kevin? The Baltimore Orioles stink.
Oh, what the freak, man!
You want to talk about a team that has so like that fan base. Like I know there's White Sox fans, there's Pirates fans, Rays fans.
I have it written here on my paper. It makes me
Rockies
hurt.
fans who are obviously frustrated year in and year out that their front office just refuses to spend any money. But the Baltimore Orioles were set up to just succeed. Go for it. Go get starting pitching because you have your entire basically almost your entire starting lineup is just young guys, homegrown talent. They're cheap talent. Go spend on pitching. They didn't, and they have the worst rotation in baseball, I think. Just hideous start for the Baltimore Orioles, who lost again on Wednesday. They lost to the Nationals. Man, they've been brutal this year in their last place in the AL East, right?
Yeah, it's not I did not expect that. I didn't think I would expect the Rockies to be as bad as they are, but
oh man, Kevin
wins. It's not looking good for KB.
I did want to ask you. I know it's a tough subject to talk on, but man, do you have again? KB has a back problem now.
Degenerative
disc
disease.
Yeah.
And I've told you guys this in the chat in the off season too. Like I've told you about the stuff that's going on with his back. I mean, just think of the idea of trying to swing a baseball bat at the major league level and your spinal cord discs are fusing together simultaneously. Also to go along with the incredible amount of pain of these discs rubbing against each other every time you do fast twitch movements. He tried to bulk up in the offseason. He tried to put a lot of core strength on so that it would insulate that, and nothing is really taking. He had I know he had a cortisone shot a couple days ago. So that, I don't know if that's been reported or not, but whoops, if it hasn't been, sorry. I don't know if I was allowed to say that, but I did, sorry. But yeah, he had a cortisone shot a couple days ago. He will be back. But I am at this point where I'm getting super concerned. He's just obviously, the best way to describe his mindset is he's disappointed right now. The dude doesn't like to not, earn his paycheck. So that's the part he's really struggling with. As he goes through it. I mean, let me pull this up real quick. Make sure I quote this right. He's beat up is a good way to put it. That's a way to describe it. And he wishes he could play without pain for the first time in a long time. And it's wicked pain. So I don't know how many more times he can have these kind of setbacks before he finally says, I just can't do it anymore. He wants to be able to walk when he's old. There comes a time where your future as a human being has to take more precedence than your baseball career. And, he has nothing to hang his head about. Rockies fans can suck a dick. So I don't care if they're mad and he got $180 million out of them. So what? Your owner sucks. Too bad. He's your owner, not ours. Our owners suck in a different way, but sorry. Really kind of side note though. I have my boy Clint Hurdle, my Twitter pal, who him and I tweet back and forth with each other and whatever, and a couple messages back and forth, is now been named the Colorado Rockies hitting instructor. He's come out of the retirement a little bit. So now it's actually kind of funny that Hurdle is working with KB. So I'm like, hey, tell KB to stop sleeping with a nightlight. Like I'm giving him little fucking things to pick at him a little bit, and hopefully can keep him light, keep his mindset there. Because Clint Hurdle, say what you want about a lot of things, Clint Hurdle is a fantastic mental coach. The dude knows the mental side of sports, and maybe this will be really good for KB. Maybe he doesn't have, I don't hate to say this, I don't want to toot my own horn, but he doesn't have a heart head mindset guru kind of person around him. He had that with Coach Hill in San Diego. He obviously had that with the stoner coach me. He's had that with the Cubs when he had Joe Madden. He's had guys around him that were a little bit more weird and new agey when it comes to preaching the mindset. And Hurdle is the same way. He's very much that kind of mindset. So that could help him a little bit as far as his mindset's concerned. Maybe, when you get stuck in that fun house a little bit, you don't want to listen to anybody. I know KB doesn't want to hear shit from me. I text him, hey, you okay, buddy? I'm just thinking about you. Hope your back's all right. Sucks, sucks all that. And thanks or whatever. But and he doesn't want to talk about it. Like, I talked about it enough. I talk about it with the trainers enough. I'm done with it. Like, can I come home at night? Can I hang out with my kids? I got four tiny little, rugrats running around here. I got a wife that I love dearly, that I've been with since we were 14. There are things more important to him. And so, like, that's the stuff he just doesn't want to talk about. And so you're not going to get through to him very much. And so luckily, maybe Hurdle being a part of there's now someone that's there on a professional level where it's supposed to come from, as opposed to, again, like I said, he doesn't want to hear me and Stafford and the rest of the coaches and his dad. He doesn't want to hear that. He's good. Like that, we're just echoing into a chamber of like self-doubt. And so for him, that could help. But I don't know, man. He has one more. I'm scared that one more setback could be the end. And I've never thought that before in my life. I would never judge him for it. I'm proud as fuck of him. I'll always be proud of him for the person he is, way more than the baseball player he is. And being a fifth generation Cub fan, that's saying a lot because of what he brought to my family, and as far as as a Cub fan, my fan family, and just in general as a dude that came through our program. I mean, I'm as proud of him as any other guy that came through our program that is a lawyer, a doctor, or works at the goddamn grocery store. But he doesn't need to prove anything to anybody at this point. He's an MVP, and he needs to think about what's best. But he's got nothing to hang his head about. Your body, you can't control some of that. It's not like he's Mickey Mantle and he's out drinking every night, showing up hungover, beating his body up, banging chicks left and right. He's not doing all that crap. The dude goes home and goes to bed. Like, he's not doing anything contrary. He's living the lifestyle that should fruit a healthy body. So unfortunately right now, it's not going to go away. It's not going to repair itself. It's about, what's the word? Moderating or moderating the pain, or is it moderating? That's what I'm thinking of. Not monitoring, but like mediating the pain, maybe, or whatever. It's basically him just coping and playing through it. And so that you'll see his exit velocity go down. Well, what's going on there. It hurts.
Yeah. So
hopefully when he comes back, the cortisone shot will do a little bit of help. But there's just it sucks to see it, but it also makes me feel old because he's in his mid-30s almost. Like, what is he? When he was born in what, 90? See here, what, 93, 94? Right? No, that's not right. Jason was born in 1990, so he was a 92 baby, I think, right? Something like that. So he's 32, 33. Maybe he's 34. God, he's 33, 92. Yeah. So,
yeah.
God, those guys are all getting old. My goodness gracious.
Yeah, I mean, all the
old.
best.
I'm old.
All the best to KB. Feel just terrible for him. But I did want to circle back to one roster question, or one thing that's starting to become a problem, and it's kind of morphed out of another guy being out with a wrist injury. Seiya Suzuki's missed some time here over the past couple weeks. He jammed his wrist during the Athletics series in Sacramento. Missed some time in San Diego. Came back. Hasn't looked too great. Was scratched again on Wednesday. And he's been DHing every game that he's been in there. So replacing him has been Justin Turner. So two things. One, Craig Counsell keeps batting Justin Turner third, which I don't know why. Number two, Justin Turner has been really bad.
Yeah.
At what point you can take like one spot in your lineup, and if it's the bottom, if it's third base, if it's your number 9 hole hitter, if it's your number 8 guy, if he struggles, fine. Like, you obviously wish they could produce, but when you're looking at your DH spot and they're putting up like John Lester numbers at the plate,
yeah,
that's a concern here. How soon, or how much more of this is it a big red flag where the Cubs consider just moving on from Justin Turner if this continues?
He's turning into the Hosmer. He's turning into the
Trey Mancini. Okay.
Yeah, Trey
Mancini. Over under.
Trey Mancini. Like, it's...
So I'm going to test out how optimistic you're going to be about Justin Turner. I was going to ask you, Trey Mancini, who was brought in 2023 to be, the first base DH backup. He got 263 plate appearances with the Cubs before he was designated for assignment and eventually released. Justin Turner, over under 270 plate appearances for the Cubs this year. Justin Turner is at, let's see. Justin Turner is currently at a cool 48 plate appearances with the Cubs.
Jeez.
So does he get another 225 or so?
I mean,
I hope so, because if he doesn't, that means that he just never bounced back and he was bad for the
I'd like to blame the
month
cold
and a half.
weather, but they've been playing on the goddamn West Coast this whole fucking month. So
They've been on the West Coast. The weather's been nice in Chicago.
I've totally avoided the cold weather, so I can't blame that. There's no excuse there. Nah, Father Time sucks, man. And if it's not happening,
That was the huge concern when he was signed. It's like, hey, he's been producing, but he's 40. That bat could just disappear in an instant. And so far, it kind of looks that way.
and so I mean, you've got to think, obviously he's a guy that can pop around, play first, play third, although he's cost him a game at first base as well. Not catching cost him that one. Clanking the double. Was it a double play ball, I believe, or just it was just a regular out, right? Or to end the game?
I think it was to end the inning. That extended the inning against the Padres in that series finale at Wrigley.
So let's see here. Who would be a replacement? Let's look down at the old firm. I
think there's Jonathan Long, first base DH prospect. He's 22, 23. He looked okay defensively during spring training, but again with Gage Workman, that was spring training. That doesn't mean anything.
God, Matt Shaw's 1 for 13 in 4 games so far at AAA.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit for Matt Shaw to get back in a groove there.
Yeah, it'll take a second. Nobody there. How about a second baseman? No. Hey, fuck it. Bring up Triantos. Have some fun. He's not doing poorly. I mean, he has no homers. But Chase Schrumpf is hitting 190 with 18 strikeouts. Yuck. So there's no answer. There's nobody on the way. It's going to be Shaw, because you need to have obviously a first baseman. So I don't know. But let's see what's going over there at the
Johnny Long. That's the next guy on the depth chart. Moises Ballesteros, do you call him up for some offensive boost?
But that's what Seiya's going to be doing. If Seiya's not healthy, I guess. But you don't want Moises up to not play when Seiya's back. So and you want to.
I guess the big thing is here, Seiya, please get healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Please
get somebody. Go get some sort of special, bone density.
Get a cortisone shot in there.
Yeah,
get a cortisone shot in the wrist.
Just figure it. Get healthy, please. That kind of
like we saw earlier in April that series in Oakland where like Kyle Tucker and Seiya were just tormenting all those pitchers. Like we could see how those three, Ian Happ, Kyle Tucker, Seiya Suzuki, when those three guys are starting, and like even Michael Busch, who was on a great pace for a couple weeks there, those top 4 guys in the lineup are like almost as good as some of the other top 4 guys in baseball there. But again, that doesn't help if Seiya Suzuki is not starting, because again, now to the second point, I have no idea why Craig Counsell keeps starting Justin Turner at the number 3 spot in the lineup. So I guess the question is, Kevin, who would you bet third? In the times that Seiya Suzuki isn't available,
Carson Kelly. I know he needs days off, but maybe that's why you bring up Moises. Is Moises? You have a third catcher that Carson Kelly now can DH on his rest days. But I just it's working so well for Kelly. I don't want to mess with it.
I love Carson Kelly's start, but I do got to say the regression is going to hit.
That's coming.
He's not going to be Barry Bonds.
Don't mess with it. That'll at least keep it. That'll at least drag it on a little bit longer if you don't let the rotation play itself out.
By the way, how about? I mean, we're doing a big overview here for the first month. How about the Cubs production from the catcher spot, huh? Carson Kelly is like what 6 home runs. Miguel Amaya had that big game tying home run against Tanner Scott on Tuesday night.
Huge into the basket. Wow.
It's the
That was-
basket shot. Cubs
Neat.
had like bottom 3 production from their catchers last year. And that was with Miguel Amaya turning it around like in July and finishing out strong. But even with that, they were awful. And now Carson Kelly was a guy who I was, okay with. I thought there was a couple other guys that I would have preferred, but I mean, so far he's been the best free agent catcher that anyone's acquired. It's just spectacular stuff from Carson Kelly. Again, that's not going to keep up, but the Cubs will obviously take his production so far. So yeah, Justin Turner, man. I saw an article from Michael on from Bleacher Nation. The swing speed is way down again. Age, is that age related? Just can't get around the ball as fast as he could when he was 30.
We're starting to.
That's definitely a concerning sign there. But again, Saya, please get back healthy.
Let's get healthy. Rub some dirt on it,
because this is now the second time in the past, like 10 days or so that he's had to miss games because of that wrist.
Yep. It reminds me too, like last year he had what was his issue last year? I mean, he was poor coming out of the gate last year, and then what was he banged up?
Was it the oblique? I think it was
something
the oblique.
That shut him
right?
down for a bit, and then he came back like a banshee. I don't know. Maybe he'll just come back like a banshee again. I don't know. Maybe they're intentionally using it as an excuse to limit his innings. I don't know.
What do you think about this scenario? Let's say like the Suzuki wrist issue doesn't get any better. Like, hey, the best thing that we can do for you, let's put you on the 10-day IL. Who do you bring up from AAA? But again, remember, we talked about this in spring training. I think the way the Cubs are going to use their top hitting prospects is if they get called up, they're going to play.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, would you bring up Kevin Alcantara? Be like, hey man, you're gonna get like 4 starts a week as the DH.
If you're gonna get 4 starts a week, that is more than enough for me for a rookie. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
That is okay. That's actually super. Because you go 4 games on and you sit 1 or 2, you look at it from a different, vantage point, you work on what you learned, you go back out for another 4. You bring it back. So that actually is development. That's really what you should be expecting from a rookie. I mean, Matt Shaw should only be still expected to play 120 games this year at max, I think, because you should be pulling the kid back and letting him work on what he sees and see it from the bench angle and talk and learn and grow and develop. And that's sometimes development doesn't actually come from in-game reps, but it comes from watching the game, isolating your spot, isolating little things to learn more about the game so that you can grow. And, as you get better, that's part of the development. I mean, and it's cost free when you're sitting, right? It's not your numbers. It's not your stat. You're not the one up there seeing that big ass bender from so-and-so. So you can say, oh man, that was dirty. I got some film. I'm going to work on this. I know kind of what it looks like from the side. I can know what to expect now. I'm seeing major league pitching from this vantage point for the first time in my life. It's not the same as watching it on TV. It's not the same as watching it on tape. I can hear the pop of the glove. I can smell the beer and the hot dogs. I can listen to the crowd. I can get used to this entire environment and not have that overwhelming moment where the moment becomes bigger than the man. And that is a big part of, I think, why it's good to have 4 days a week, 4 games, 4 games, 1, if there's 6 games in a week, play 4, maybe 3 even. That's okay. If that's the case, you can bring up Owen Casey too if you wanted to. Any of those guys can come up for that. If you're giving them, ample opportunity and then work time, that's fine. Because again, you can always push them back down when everybody gets healthy. Just don't bring them up.
I wonder if it would be Casey. Like Casey he starts against right-handed pitching as the DH. You still keep Justin Turner starting as the DH against lefties. Mm-hmm. Again, this is only the scenario if Seiya goes to the injured list.
Right, you should probably start putting Turner in the 1. I'm the Turner lead off. Council's he's gonna show you. He's gonna show you he's right. Sorry, that's the new Patrick Wisdom for Michael Busch against lefties. No.
By the way, did you see that Justin Turner stolen base stat from?
Yeah, I got a stolen base tonight. He was a little trail runner. Nice job.
First Cubs player 40 years or older to steal a base since
Ben Zobrist.
Since your
Frank
guy,
Everett?
think about it, Kevin. Your guy, pitcher, Cubs legend, Hall of Fame.
No,
Since Greg Maddux,
Maddox was the last 40-year-old to steal a base.
last 40-year-old on
Zobrist-
the Cubs to steal a base.
Zobrist never hit 40. Huh? He was going to hit 40 with the Cubs, and then his wife turned into a.
Yeah,
Sorry, didn't turn into one. She already was one, but
she got into the reverend.
showed that she was a. Sorry.
But yeah, Justin Turner. I mean, again, man,
That's a great
that's
a
something to
Jeopardy
keep an
stat.
eye on for these next couple weeks here. How does Justin Turner? Does he turn it around? Because if not, I think we're gonna have that conversation.
Yeah.
It's like
We might have to play the old.
you
trumpet.
gotta just move on. Before we end tonight's show, and again, thanks for everyone tuning in. Subscribe on YouTube and also wherever you're listening. On your audio podcast application. The bullpen I know has been much maligned. You know, Eli Morgan injured list, he was bad. Nate Pearson started in the bullpen. He was quickly ushered out after his awful performances. Julian Merriweather, who the Cubs picked up off waivers heading into the 2023 season. He had his best year in the majors with the Cubs last year. Myself, a lot of Cubs fans had huge expectations for him last year, and he was injured, didn't pitch much, and the Cubs really could have used him, as we saw. Could have used another high leverage arm throughout the year. But he's back healthy, man, and he's been spectacular so far. He had another shutout inning with 2 strikeouts on Wednesday against the Dodgers. He's now pitched 10 1/3 innings. He's only given up 2 earned runs, 10 strikeouts, 3 walks. I'm glad that Julian Merriweather is back, and he's importantly that he's healthy. Porter Hodge, again, nasty stuff. He has an inflated ERA. Fans are going to look at that ERA and be like, Porter Hodge, what the hell? It was that one outing in Arizona. And again, a lot of those runs should have been unearned. I have no idea how Workman wasn't charged with an error, but hey, who knows? Brad Keller, I know he's had a couple outings where he's walked guys and that's led to runs, but overall, he's looked good. That's a spring training success story so far. Daniel Palencia was called up. Again, I think he's given up a couple runs here and there, but overall, he's been able to not have a meltdown. And that's, again, when you're like the 6th inning guy, like when you're like the first guy out of the bullpen, just don't give the game away. Just if you have a 3-run lead, get out of there with still the lead, right? Like if you give up a run, yeah, that sucks, but like don't turn that 1 run into a 3-run deficit. Daniel Palencia has so far done that. Again, I'm not fully confident in Palencia yet. I know he has the 100-mile-per-hour fastball. Does have like a slider, but he still gets hit a little too hard. Where, you know, I still like him where he's at. Have him be like the 6th inning guy. Cool. Keep him away from like any higher leverage spots. But hey, so far he's been doing his job. I mentioned earlier, I think Tyson Miller, I think he's going to be back in a week or so, maybe within the week. Ryan Presley, again, if you guys missed that update from earlier in the show, Ryan Presley had his knee drained earlier this week. That's why he wasn't available to pitch the 9th inning on Wednesday against the Dodgers. Craig Counsell said he hopes Presley's back by Friday. Cubs have an off day on Thursday. So I know I bitched a little at the beginning of the year how I know that the Japanese games were like, they were fun. There was a good narrative, good for baseball, good for the Cubs, Dodgers to experience that. But the games were a little annoying. The roster stuff was like Cubs had to make some decisions there that they probably didn't want to make at the time. But those 2 early games have afforded them some extra couple off days here in April. Mm-hmm. So that's good. And obviously when you're down a starting pitcher in Justin Steele, you have a bullpen that's a little extra taxed here. So getting those extra days off that you normally wouldn't be getting is good for the Cubs right now. Any other overarching thoughts here on the Cubs' hot start? 16-10. Unbelievable.
I'm super stoked. I mean, this is fun. It's fun. Baseball is fun, and the Cubs are fun right now. This is the kind of season when the Cubs are playing this well. This is the kind of season that makes the summer a super freaking summer because the Cubs are playing well. Wrigley has a different energy. And they have a bunch of games at home because they played a lot of games on the road. So there's going to be a lot of home cooking. And, if you can get, the ball's flying out of Wrigley right now, it's been a dead zone for the last couple seasons. A little bit interesting there to see. If Mother Nature, the baseball gods are happy enough to give us a June, maybe that's not like a record heat wave. And this season, maybe it's a beautiful month of nice weather. I need the nice weather. I'm coming in June 18th through 21st. I'd rather not sweat my balls off like I did last time. Literally sweating my ass off on the red line, and hot Tua became a thing that morning while I was on there sweating. It was terrible. I don't
know, Kevin. I think it's only April, and then the humidity's been already hitting hard.
Yeah, I'm excited though because I'm going to see 2 Brewers games, 2 Seattle games. So I hope you come to at least one of them.
All right.
So I'll be there 18th through 21st. Grand total of $10 for my round trip flight. Points.
Wow.
Yeah, excited for that one. So, but this is what makes it exciting. I'm okay. I mean, the Cubs are Ricketts can kiss my ass a little bit, but they did make moves enough for me to not feel like I'm an idiot for supporting this. This is a good Cubs team. This team was put together to win, and at least enough. And hopefully they'll make some more moves. But it's exciting to go out. I couldn't go to the Dodgers series because I had just gotten back from a school trip from Reno, where I was babysitting 50 teenagers for 5 days, and it's also in Dante's third layer of hell. But the whole
Love
thing,
the tape trick.
Oh yeah, the tape trick, old coach's trick. It's the decoy tape that really puts it together because you put the decoy tapes over the knob, so they think that that's the one they're replacing. But you've got a nice little seal on thinner tape, way out of their eyesight because teenagers are so fucking aloof. They don't notice. They're not looking up and down everywhere. It's hidden, like it's fucking Waldo in a crowd. And so they just put it up there. And yeah, we had what all those referencing is on our trip. Yeah, some kids tried to frame our girls by ripping their tape off, but my dummy tape was what they ripped off. My nice seal at the top was perfectly unblemished. So our girls were actually behaved themselves. It was the girls from the rich school down the road that acted like idiots all week that were the problem. So. But yeah, no, I'm excited about being in there for the series, and that's what makes that's a summer trip for me being stuck out here in Vegas. I'm gonna leave here where it's a dry heat, and I'm gonna go to Chicago and wrap a hot, wet towel around my face to go enjoy the Cubs out in the bleachers with my Thai guy, Rachel, and the rest of the gang. And I'm super excited because last year was such a great time hanging out with those dudes too, and those just meeting everybody random. Tommy, getting to hang out with Tommy a little bit too, and. Cody, that, my tweet blew up that day. It was on the broadcast even with Cody holding up the deep dish sign thing. So we had a good time. And that Friday, I do get to Friday afternoon 120, that's really key is to get that Friday 120 game. So we're going to have a good time up there, but I'm super excited. This is what makes the Cubs playing so well exciting. This is a Cubs team that's exciting. They don't seem to have a quit. They don't seem to have a panic button either, which I love to see. And, it's just go right back to work. The bullpen has a little bit of a, dumpster fire potential on occasion, but all told, this is a great team. This is a fun team to watch.
Just makes for more exciting games.
Yeah, it's just trying to get us pumped. This makes it fun. This is a good team. The Cubs are a good team.
Yes,
I think
I was going to say
they were going to win the division. This is a good team. I didn't think that they were going to play this well against the Dodgers. Now, the Dodgers will be the Dodgers. They don't give these Dodgers fans are already like, who cares? They played tonight. Even though last night they couldn't stop sending me videos of those Dodgers fans walking up the street. Now tonight, they played tonight. We'll see you in the postseason. So they're just being Dodger fans. But the Dodgers will get better. They'll get healthier too, and there'll be a problem. But I like seeing that the Cubs can go into that series going, we can beat you at your place or ours. We can't beat you in Japan, but we ain't playing there, so we're cool.
Again, so the Cubs won the season series against the Dodgers, obviously coming to the season, World Series champions, and favored to win again and be one of the best teams in baseball. The Cubs have won the season series against the Arizona Diamondbacks, like top 2, top 3 offense in baseball. Cubs did a great job shutting them down for the most part, except for that crazy game.
Split with the Padres.
Split with the Padres, 3-3. Could have won. I think that was an evenly There's probably a game that the Cubs won that they should have lost, and there's probably a game that the Padres won that they should have lost.
Agreed.
But, it
Agreed.
evened out 3-3.
Mhm.
Just good baseball by the Cubs. The offense is a real deal. Why? They have a superstar, Kyle Tucker.
What a difference
They have a solid. They just have a solid. The depth again. Pete Crow-Armstrong is batting 7th right now. He's hitting like a top 20 hitter in baseball. The catching has been amazing. Michael Busch has been producing. Nico Horner got off to a great start. Like the one starter besides like the whatever's going on at third base. Dansby Swanson's the only guy who's struggling.
Yep. Still playing
And,
defense.
I know,
still doing the job out there.
Great defense. Yeah. Like he's not taking the struggles onto the field. He's still making all the plays. I think he'll eventually turn around. It sucks, but he did it last year.
Yeah.
I think he does it again. The Cubs don't have to count on him so much because that again, the lineup is just better now. Lineup is just so much better now.
And this is something we've talked about is like when you have an actually well-built, balanced lineup, guys can struggle and other guys get hot. And other guys, when they cool off, you have the balance of other guys getting hot again. And the Cubs they do have 8 or 9. I think Shaw has the potential to be that 9th eventually, but you do have 8 guys, especially with the way the catcher's position is swinging it, 8 guys that can go through these stretches, and you might have 4 guys picking you up, and then the other 4 guys pick those 4 guys up. Any kind of mix of in between. You're not going to get 8 guys. When you have a poorly balanced lineup, you have 4 guys that struggle, and then you get those bottom 5 that are just mediocre. You're screwed. You're relying on mid talent, and that's what the Cubs have had. When you're relying on guys like Patrick Wisdom to pick you up, when your big bats go through their inevitable cold spells, you're in trouble. You're going to lose those stretches. And when you have guys that are better, talent-wise, production-wise, now all of a sudden, it's not going to be the death of the world that Seiya Suzuki's out for a second. Why?
Yeah.
Because other dudes are picking him up. And that's I love seeing that. That's the best and most one of the biggest reasons for optimism with the Cubs is they have a lineup. They actually have a
right now
starting lineup at least.
Right now Seiya Suzuki's been in and out of the lineup because of the wrist thing. And when he's come back, he's had a couple big hits, but hasn't really looked the same. So what's happened? PCA has stepped it up. Just has a 10-game stretch where he's like the best player in baseball. Kyle Tucker's just been great since, the Cubs started the regular season. Ian Happ struggled for like a week and a half. He's turned it on.
Mm-hmm.
Nico Horner, Nico Horner was hitting like, 350 for like the first 3 weeks. He's been amazing. A little slump here lately, but again, it goes a little unnoticed just because that even with like these little guys having their slumps, they're still scoring 7 runs.
It goes unnoticed. You said it perfect. It goes unnoticed because you have shadows and protection all throughout the lineup to pick up when you do have that down. Someone else is up. It's great. Like it's perfect. Like it goes unnoticed. It's a rabbit jumping through the woods that you may never even notice. And then Nico will get hot, and maybe Dansby gets hot. Seiya comes back and swings it, and that's where PCA hits that one step back.
Yeah, PCA slumps. It's like, all right, well, it's fine.
But it's all about that wave and that ebb and flow, and it's about guys picking each other up and next man up mentality and moving the line and team baseball and seeing a lot of pitches, which the Cubs have really done a good job of as well. They've been working counts really well. Council did get to bring his own coaching staff. The guys that he brought in, they're coaching the shit out of these guys. They're coaching them up.
The base running. The base running has been spectacular. I think they're the number 1 base running team in baseball. They've improved so much, scoring from second base on hits. We've seen all the stolen bases. I think they're either number 2 or number 1 or number 2 in Major League Baseball in stolen bases.
How many good ones?
It's just like it's everybody. On Wednesday there was one play late in the game where Michael Busch on his single goes from first to second. Or no, he goes. He gets to third base on a ball that normally a first baseman doesn't get to, but he has average enough speed where he makes it there safely. And then he scores on a sac fly from Nico Horner. The ball wasn't that deep to right field. Teoscar Hernandez throws slightly offline. Michael Busch scores easily. Your regular first baseman doesn't score on that play. Michael Busch, athletic, younger guy, gets it done.
Yep.
obviously we know how amazing PCA is on when he's on base, just creating havoc all over the place. Nico Horner, he can steal bases when he's on. The bench guys, Bruhan can steal. John Birdie when he's a pinch runner. The other night, I thought it was great. John Birdie is the pinch runner, like in the 8th inning, I think, and the entire stadium knows that he's going to steal second base. Everyone on the field knows he's going to steal second base, and he still does it easily. You want to talk about a guy who's aged, but like he still has the speed? It's John Birdie. This is a guy who's like 35, 36 years old, but he's still running, near the top of the league. Tough start for him at third base, though, at the plate on Wednesday. I think it was like 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. But again, I noticed Cubs win 7-6. I mean, yeah, I guess my last note here, it's April 23rd right now, recording live. It does feel different from the past couple of years. The past couple of years, the Cubs have had winning records in April. But I think even then we were kind of being like, yeah, but are they that good?
It felt like
are they
fool's
getting a little
gold.
lucky?
It felt like fool's gold.
This time around, they're doing it against tough opponent after tough opponent after tough opponent. And I'm just going to go back to it. The offense is legit. The offense, this isn't smoke and mirrors. This isn't like, oh, they scored 10 runs in one game. They score 2 runs, then 1 run, and then they get shut out. Oh, then they score 8 runs again, and then they score 4 runs in the next 5 games. They're consistently scoring runs. They're consistently bouncing back. When they get down in games, I forget the exact number on the stat, but I think they're number 1 in baseball. They've scored, I think the number was 40. I think they've scored in 43% of the innings after a team has scored. Like, talk about the resiliency there.
They've scored. They've scored 163 runs. The second closest to them is 137 runs. Okay, their run differential in ball games is 43 already, and we're in the first month of the season. We are 26 games in, and they are at a plus 43 run differential. Again, no one's even close to that. What's the closest is probably 36. It looks like.
I think like the Mets.
The Mets, Mets 36, Yankees 31, Detroit 30, but like just doing things, man. And their expected win total is 17-9, so they're really.
What was that? It was that fucking game in Arizona. Right?
Take that one off the board, and there you go. And so they're playing like they should. It's crazy when a team plays as expected, even though expectations are bad. You never want to throw that on somebody, but true. They're playing as they should, basically, and that's wonderful.
With the bullpen truck, because like I've said, they've blown 6 games. I think that's tied for the most in Major League Baseball. Think about all the other games where it's been close in the 8th inning, and then bam, they score 2-3 runs, and it's a 2-run game. It's a 5-run game now. Like, just so much more breathing room. Why? Because the offense is just real, so real. Kyle Tucker will end the show here. If Kyle Tucker is not signed, I don't care if it's free agency, extension, whatever. Like Tom Ricketts, Crank Kenny, whoever is making the decision.
That would come for you. So
if he's not back, like, what the fuck are you guys doing? What's the point? Like, what's the point of owning a team when you have a legit superstar in your city, in your stadium, on your wearing your uniform, and you're like, I don't know if he's worth it. Like, come on. But that's a story that will be evolving as the season goes on. So far, so good for the Cubs, for Kyle Tucker.
I do have one
they're
last
good.
message.
Just good.
One last
They're
message.
good. Yeah.
One last message.
Let me tell you something. You stupid little runt. I own you. You're my bitch.
So needed that. Sorry.
That's true. They can't argue that. Who won the season series?
Over.
Cubs over. Everyone tuning in to the Pinot Wisnavi podcast, make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a like here. Drop a comment. Follow Pinot Wisnavi pod on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can follow Kevin at KFids, myself at Aldo Soto. Make sure to check out Mitch with the Pinwheels pregame show. Check out some White Sox talk. Cubs are legit. The Cubs are real. I think the Cubs are going to be special this year. For Kevin, my name is Aldo. Until next time,